Think about the last conversation you had that felt a little too enjoyable. Someone told you what really happened between two coworkers, or what your neighbor said behind closed doors. You probably felt a small twinge of guilt, like you shouldn't be so interested. But the real answer is far stranger than guilt. That urge isn't a character flaw, it's one of the oldest survival tools your brain has ever built. Here's the uncomfortable statistic. Researchers studying everyday conversation have found that a massive portion of human speech, some estimates put it at around two-thirds, isn't about facts, weather, or work tasks at all. It's about other people. Who did what, who said what, who can and can't be trusted. You call it gossip, evolution calls it essential. To understand why, you have to go back to something surprisingly unglamorous: grooming. If you watch primates like chimpanzees or baboons, you'll notice they spend an enormous amount of time picking through each other's fur. It looks simple, even boring. But anthropologist Robin Dunbar, who spent years studying primate social behavior at Oxford, realized grooming wasn't really about cleanliness at all. It was about bonding. Grooming released calming hormones, built trust, and cemented alliances within the group. The more time two primates spent grooming each other, the more likely they were to defend one another, share food, and stick together when danger appeared. Here's the problem: grooming only works one-on-one. You can only pick through one friend's fur at a time. That's fine for a small group of 20 or 30. But as early human groups grew larger, sometimes reaching well over 100 individuals, there simply wasn't enough time in the day to physically groom everyone you needed to stay connected with. So what happened? According to Dunbar, language stepped in to do grooming's job, but far more efficiently. Instead of physically touching one person at a time, you could sit around a fire and talk to 5, 10, 15 people at once. And what did that talking mostly consist of? Not philosophy, not hunting strategy. People: who helped who cheated who can be trusted with the last of the food supply. Dunbar called this the social grooming function of language, and gossip specifically became the shortcut. A few sentences about someone's behavior could transmit in seconds what might have taken hours of direct observation to figure out. Is that person reliable, selfish, dangerous, loyal? Gossip compressed all of it into gossip-sized bites your brain could quickly file away. Notice what's happening here. You're not just being nosy when you want to know what someone did. You're running an ancient background program designed to answer one question: can I trust this person or not? This is where a second researcher becomes relevant. Psychologist Frank McAndrew, who has spent years studying the social function of gossip, found that people are far more interested in gossip about individuals within their own social circle than about complete strangers. Why? Because gossip about your boss, your friend's ex, or your cousin's business partner is actually useful information. It might affect you directly. Gossip about a stranger 3 countries away rarely does. Your brain isn't randomly curious. It's selectively curious, prioritizing information that could impact your own alliances and safety. Here's the twist that reframes the whole conversation. Gossip isn't just about tearing people down. A huge percentage of it is actually positive or neutral: praising someone's generosity, warning a friend about someone's temper, sharing that someone helped a stranger in need. Sociologist Jack Levin, who has researched gossip's role in group cohesion, found that this kind of information sharing actually enforces cooperation. When people know their reputation is being discussed, whether they behaved generously or selfishly, they tend to behave better. Gossip becomes an invisible policing system, keeping group members honest without a single rule being written down anywhere. Think about how strange that is. You've probably felt embarrassed about being a gossip. But without it, early human groups would have struggled to identify cheaters, freeloaders, or dangerous individuals fast enough to protect themselves. The people who paid close attention to social information, who cared about who did what to whom, were often the ones who avoided being exploited, betrayed, or abandoned by their own group. Caring about gossip wasn't a weakness. It was a survival advantage passed down to you. So why does gossip still feel a little shameful today, even though it clearly served an important purpose? Because modern social rules developed largely in response to gossip's darker side: its ability to spread cruelly, unfairly, or falsely, especially once it could travel far beyond the small group sizes it evolved for. In a tribe of 30 people, gossip stayed contained and mostly accurate, because everyone could eventually verify it firsthand. In a world of social media, a rumor can travel to millions of strangers who have no way to check if it's even true. The tool didn't change. The scale exploded far beyond what it was built for. That's why gossip can feel both irresistible and uncomfortable at the same time. Your brain is running software built for tight-knit tribes, now operating inside an environment of workplaces, group chats, and online platforms filled with far more people than it ever evolved to track. Next time you catch yourself leaning in a little closer when someone says, "You didn't hear this from me," notice what's actually happening. You're not being petty. You're running one of the oldest and most successful social technologies your species ever developed, the same tool that once replaced fur picking as the glue holding early human groups together. It just happens to now be running through group chats instead of grasslands, and through comment sections instead of campfires. Think about the last conversation you had that felt a little too enjoyable. Now you know it wasn't a guilty pleasure at all. It was your ancestors still quietly working, still keeping the tribe safe, one conversation at a time.